Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to the Discriminating Gamer. I was once stuck in Rome for 3 weeks. All their roads have this really weird design. Ladies and gentlemen, today we're going to go ahead and take a look at Hoplomachus Remastered from Chip Theory Games. Hoplomachus Remastered is kind of a fantasy arena skirmish game in which various units, both human beings and beasts and what have you, are going to battle inside an arena for supremacy. Now, there are different ways that you can play this game. You have an onslaught mode where you battle kind of against these immortals. You have a team alliance game. You can do it, as I say, solo in some of the modes. There's a lot of different things you can do here. I'm primarily going to pay attention to the skirmish mode for this review, as that is what I have the most experience with. Now, you have a game mat here that is, of course, the arena. There's two sides to it. There are two different arenas that you can fight in. You have kind of an area, your camp on one side where you're going to kind of bring units into it. You're also going to have spaces on the board for actually where you can deploy units. You'll also have some special spaces on the board that you can gain points for. And you're going to have the crowd favor tracks along the sides of the game mat, or you may have another game crowd favor track on the other side that's slightly different. You're also going to be able to select kind of a neutral hero that you may be able to bring in that you put at the end of that track, that if you get there, you can bring that hero into the game. Now, this game is interesting because you have chips, right? Literally, all of your units are poker chips. All the kind of effects and status stuff, tactics that you can use are poker chips, and kind of your health are different kinds of poker chips. So this essentially is the method by which you are going to fight these epic battles here. But each of the factions that you can choose from have very specific units, and these very specific units have different dice that they're going to roll. They have various keywords that are going to give them special abilities during the game. But each of these units will also have basic stats. They will have their movement, their range, and their health. Now, what you're going to do is you're going to put your faction in a bag. You've got a leader that you're going to set off to the side. You may be able to bring him in a little bit later. But at the beginning of the game, you're going to reach into your bag. You're going to pull out 4 units. You're going to have the 4 units in front of you. You can see them. Your opponent will not be able to. Then what you're going to do is if you're playing with a Pazzuli map, you can actually check to see who's controlling the stone hexes. If you're on there, if you control one of them, you go up once on the crowd favor. If you control both of them, I think you go up 3 on the crowd favor. Next, you have deployment. Essentially, you can pick one of your units and you can put him on the board. Now, you probably want to put him face down initially because he's dazed. He can't do anything that turn that you bring him in. But what you're going to do is you're actually going to put a number of chips in your color, blue or red, beneath him. And that is what his health value is. So if he's got 3 health, you put 3 red chips beneath him. 5 red chips. Or if you're blue, you put the appropriate number of blue chips beneath them. But again, that's based on their health value, so you can see just on the board how healthy any particular unit is at any given time. Now, in addition to your units, you also have these tactics chips. Now, these tactics chips can do different things. Some of them, for instance, can make it so you have more movement abilities, or you have a greater health point. There's also stuff that can play dirty tricks on your opponents, and most of the time you're going to have to be adjacent to your opponent in order to play one of those dirty tricks on them, in which case you may put that tactic directly on them or on your unit or just underneath it. So you're playing these tactics, and once they're played, and there will be some opportunities to get them back, but they can significantly alter what's going on in the game. Next, you've got movement. Now, except for your unit that you just deployed, you can move all of your units on the board, all things being equal, up to their full movement stat. Next, you have engage. Now, engage is where you actually do your fighting, you do your combat. You can do regular combat, or if you have a special ability, you can take advantage of that special ability and do that instead. Now, your units may have innate abilities, which are kind of like passive, or these special abilities that they can do in lieu of combat, and those are, as I say, um, dependent upon what that specific skill would be, or that specific keyword would be. But all things being equal, if you're doing combat, you're looking at the number of dice they roll, the number and the types of dice they roll. You have several different colored dice, and depending on what the color is how many potential hit points are on that dice. You roll all the dice, and any hits then is damage your opponent is going to take. They're going to remove that number of poker chips that are their health points. They're going to remove that number from the unit. Now, after you've moved and attacked with all of your units, you go to the final phase where you replenish your camp. Essentially, you reach in your bag, you draw out another unit that you can put in front of you to deploy at a later time. If you turned over the top of the deployment unit, you can turn that over at that time as well. Now, during the course of the game, if you kill an enemy unit, you're actually going to increase your crowd favor. So that's another important way you can move up on the crowd favor track. So as you're traveling up the crowd favor track, the first thing you can do is you can actually flip over your hero. He is now available to deploy. If you get to the second reward, you can go ahead and actually get some of your tactics tokens, which you've already played. You can bring them back. You can use them again in your camp. If you get to the third reward, you can actually bring back some of the units that you had actually lost. You can bring them back into your camp. And then if you get to the final one, you can actually bring in that neutral hero to fight for you as well. Now, essentially, here in the skirmish mode, you're trying to knock out your enemy's hero. If you can succeed in knocking him out, you win the game. If you completely eliminate all of the enemy's opponents on the board, you win the game. So that's how kind of you fulfill the victory conditions in skirmish. But there are a lot of different ways you can play this game. There are a lot of different game modes. Like I say, you can play kind of team games. There is the solitaire game where you're fighting against the immortals. You can fight against titans. There's all sorts of ways to play this game. So if you are able to fulfill the unique victory conditions of the game mode you are playing, then you win! Hoplomachus, Remastered.
We'll get back to the review in just a moment. I want to take a minute to ask you to check out my other channel, that is Cody Carlson, PhD, where we talk about history, books on history, military history. I even post some of my lectures for my classes on there. Please check that out. Please subscribe to that channel. And now, back to the review.
Okay, so like I say, I haven't played a lot of the different modes. Primarily, I played skirmish. I played a little bit of the solitaire against the immortals. I haven't played a complete game there. So let me tell you, this is the very first chip theory game that I think I've ever played. I don't remember having played a chip theory game before in the past. Ray loves chip theory. It's one of his favorite. In fact, I think he was telling me he owns every one of their games except Hoplomachus. This is the only one he didn't. So he was super excited to play this one. And I was pleasantly surprised when the good people at Chip Theory Games reached out to me not long ago and asked if I wanted to go ahead and review Hoplomachus and some of the expansions and other standalone games here. And I was really excited about it because I thought this sounded like fun. And I love the aesthetic here of the poker chips. I'll tell you right now, this is a heavy game, like literally physically heavy, because you've got those poker chips, and you got poker chips for everything here, right? They're your units, and they're your health level, they're your tactics, and then you've got some really cool, unique dice too. And then I love the game mat. I think the art here is great. The art throughout the game is great. So I was really excited to play it. And Ray and I sat down to play this game, and within a round, maybe 2 rounds, I was like, this is amazing. This is awesome. And I say that because skirmish games generally are not my favorite. I've played some I've enjoyed, but they're not games that I tend to gravitate to. And yet this one had me enthralled from beginning to end. And there's so much spice and sugar in this game with the keywords. And so you're always looking at what your guys can do and what your enemy's guys can do. And you're always paying attention to that and trying to figure out, well, I can attack him, but then this is going to happen. There's like one of them is you can never take more than 1 point of damage. No matter how many hits they roll, you can only take 1 hit point of damage. There's retaliate, where if you do damage to a character and that character doesn't die, they automatically deal 1 damage back to you. That was cool. You've got these animals that have roaming. So essentially what you do is you can't really control where they go. You just roll the die, and then depending on what the die says, 6-sided die, that's where they move to. But you have another character who's a beastmaster, and if he's on the board, then you can control the beast. And there's just, I mean, I could just go on and on about all the different keywords here that just bring some real spice and sugar. And then the different factions, they're all different, and some of the tactics are different. And there's so much just in the skirmish game. There's so much. And then you look at all the other modes, and there is just a tremendous amount of game in this box. Now, this is not an inexpensive game, but I feel like from what I played and what I hope to play before long, and maybe I'll have some more videos, more reports on that down the road, you get your money's worth here. This is really fun. I was looking forward to this game. I liked it more than I thought I was going to. It was really fun. Like I say, skirmish games are not my usual cup of tea, but this just is fantastic. And it's not a hard game to learn. It's really not. It's really accessible. And it's just great fun. You're rolling those dice, and you're cheering when you get what you want, and you're scared when the other guy goes. I mean, there's a real sense of terror here. I played other games that were in arenas, like gladiators too. And again, it's not a theme that really appeals to me, but here it was amazing. I really liked it. Who knows? Maybe when I do my West Civ 1 game nights, this might be a game that I incorporate going forward, because it's just great fun. I love Hoplomachus Remastered. Like I say, they sent me some expansions and the Victorum, so I haven't had a chance to play those yet. I'll hopefully get to those before too long, and I got to tell you, I'm really excited to, because they look fantastic. So I don't know what else I can say here, except this game blew me away, exceeded my expectations. I'm going to go ahead. I'm going to say on the Cody scale, Hoplomachus Remastered deserves a 9 out of 10. A 9 out of 10. It is fantastic. I'm going to be playing this one a lot. Thank you once again for joining us today on The Discriminating Gamer. As always, we would ask you to please leave a comment here on YouTube, on Board Game Geek, on Facebook, on Twitter. Please like and follow us on social media. We would ask you to please like this video and subscribe to it on YouTube if you haven't already. We'd also ask you to please leave a thumb for us on Board Game Geek as well. Now, if you really do like what you see here on this channel, I would humbly ask you to check out my other YouTube channel, that is Cody Carlson, PhD, where we talk about history, military history, books on history. I even post some of my lectures on that channel, so please subscribe to that channel as well. It would mean the world to me. And also, too, if you really do like what we do here on this channel, I would humbly ask you to click on the Super Thanks button and leave a tip. Have you heard about that gladiator who got his arms and his legs cut off? He was disarmed and defeated.